Welcome to the Big Four Accounting Firms podcast, brought to you by bigfouraccountingfirms.com. If you enjoy our show, don't forget to help us out by subscribing to this podcast, sharing it with a friend, and providing us with a review on iTunes. Check out the show notes below for the link. Thanks, and enjoy the show.
In yesterday's podcast, we covered an article about a partner at the Big Four accounting firms who gave himself a panic attack because of anxiety. Working at the Big Four can cause a lot of anxiety, but I believe that you can counteract some of that by daily practices. And I wanted to go over a few of those daily practices today. So my first tip in combating anxiety is meditation and mindfulness. Now, meditating and mindfulness is very popular right now, and I view meditation as training your brain to calm down. It's hard to calm down in this day and age because we are taught to be constantly consuming content. We're always watching a clip on YouTube or on Instagram, or we're at home watching Netflix. And just think about that for a second. You are essentially training your brain to be constantly on alert for what content to consume next. Are you or anyone you know able to just sit in a lobby, whether it's a doctor's office or waiting for an interview, without looking at your phone? No, you're not. Anytime there's an awkward pause in a day, we look to our phone to entertain us. And you need to untrain your brain from doing this by meditating. And an easy way to start is by focusing on your breath. And it's okay if your mind wanders while you're meditating and focusing on your breath, but as long as you always come back to the focus on your breath or a mantra that you give yourself, you'll be okay. You want to get your mind comfortable over being calm. And this calmness is where our brains truly do their best work. And it's also in this calmness where you will get rid of your anxiety. But you won't do this while you're surfing the web. And the second tip that I have to combat anxiety at the Big Four and just in general is not looking at your phone first thing in the morning. Not looking at your phone and first thing in the morning will make a huge impact on your life. If you wake up every morning to look at your email or at your social media accounts, you are training your brain to be reactionary. Your brain wakes up and thinks, how am I going to respond to what happened overnight versus waking up in a calm state? It makes sense, right? It makes sense that if you wake up in a calm, non-reactionary mind frame, that you might be able to avoid anxiety for the rest of the day. But if you wake up and you grab your phone and say, what emails did I receive overnight? Then you're just teaching your brain to wake up amped up and in a reactionary mind frame. My third tip for combating anxiety is getting plenty of sleep. There are all kinds of studies that show that not getting enough sleep wreaks havoc on your brain and your body. And one of the side effects of not getting sleep is having anxiety and being stressed and depressed during the day. You need to get at least 7 hours of sleep each night. You also need to have a great sleeping environment. And this means that your room needs to be dark with no lights. You also should not watch TV in your bedroom because that makes your brain think you are going to have entertainment when you enter your bedroom as opposed to preparing to go to bed. And having your room being cool in temperature has also shown to be beneficial in enhancing sleep. So make sure to invest in your sleep habits to reduce your stress and anxiety. Now, my fourth tip to reducing stress and anxiety is a unique tip. And this tip is that you can tap on your body to relieve stress. If you tap on what are called EFT points, you can also relieve stress. EFT stands for Emotion Freedom Technique. For example, one point that you tap in this EFT technique is under your eye. You tap this area gently with your fingers and you imagine your event that is causing anxiety. For example, you can imagine a huge client deadline that is looming. You would say, I'm releasing all the anxiety related to this client project while you're tapping on that particular EFT point. Now what this does is it tells your amygdala to relax and that everything is okay. And your amygdala is the part of the brain that causes you to be anxious. It houses the fight or flight instinct in you. And I'll include a link in the show notes to learn more about this EFT tapping exercise in case you're interested. Now my fifth tip to relieving stress and anxiety at the Big Four is to exercise. If you just sit at your desk all day long in a slumped over position, then you will feel stressed out and clamped up. And this is because part of our emotional well-being is tied up in our physical well-being. So if you treat your body like crap, you will feel like crap. So get up and get moving and get in good shape so that your mind can be healthy. Because if your body's in pain and your body doesn't feel well, then your mind will feel bad and your mind will feel anxiety. And along those same lines, my sixth tip is to eat right. Another way to relieve stress is by eating well. Make sure to eat whole foods like vegetables and fats that your brain needs to operate. And additionally, you should cut down on caffeine and coffees. Some of your anxiety might be due to drinking too many coffees, taking too many coffee breaks, or drinking too many energy drinks. And it's because all of these get you excited and get your heart rate up. And if your heart is racing all day from too much caffeine, then this tells your brain that there is something to be worried about. Because again, part of our emotional state is also our physical state. And if your heart is pumping, then your brain thinks that there's something to be worried about. And the last recommendation I have today is to learn to say no. If you remember in yesterday's podcast, there was a Deloitte partner that gave himself a panic attack by trying to do everything himself. If you try to do everything yourself and say yes to everything, you'll end up with a boatload of work at the Big Four. But if you learn to say no to the types of work that cause you stress, then you will have less stress. It might be hard to say no at first in the Big Four, but it is a skill that is worth developing to help you improve your mental health for years to come and to make your job sustainable. Well, those are a few of my tips to help you manage stress and anxiety in your life. I hope you enjoy them and are able to implement them to improve your daily stress levels. Wanted to take a quick break today to tell you about our Big Four interview course. Did you know that only 4% of candidates get into the Big Four? That's right, only 4%. Deloitte gets about 500,000 applications a year, and only 4% of those candidates get in. Well, we want to help you get a job at the Big Four. We want to help you be part of that 4% by preparing you for your Big Four interview, and we think we can do this with our Big Four interview course. Our Big Four interview course provides you with all the important things that you need to do to prep for your Big Four interview. This includes research on all the Big Four that's prepared for you, and also guidance on how to conduct more specific research on the firm and practice you'll be interviewing with. We also walk you through interview questions and how to answer those interview questions the way the Big Four professionals will want them to be answered, among other valuable insights into the Big Four. And if that isn't enough, we offer a PDF of 100 additional Big Four interview questions and a Big Four resume template. You've invested in your accounting education and you invest in your accounting exam, whether that's a CPA exam or another course. So why not invest in a Big Four interview course to help you nail the Big Four interview? Check out the link to the Big Four interview course in the show notes to learn more. Thanks, and now we'll get you back to the show.
We appreciate your help in growing this podcast so we can continue to bring you the best Big Four content possible. You could help us out by providing a review on iTunes, sending us an email with your comments, and don't forget to share with your friends. There's a link below in the show notes. That's our show for today. Thanks for listening and have a great day.